Hello and hi dear friends, Bernd here. In this video we want to take a look at my beautifully blooming Odontoglossum Chayenne, which I received from Orchid Wichmann in early May 2020. Back then I also introduced you to the plant directly and planted it in this scene here. I planted it in this glass container and you can see now, almost a year and a half later, it's blooming again. Back then it already had 2 flower spikes. This year there are also 2 flower spikes again. As the plant gets older and develops more, bulbs develop side shoots, which you can certainly hope for, or you can think of it that way. Based on the large plants that I currently have in the Odontoglossum and Oncidium areas and so on, that can happen sooner or later. It's definitely going to be an even bigger fireworks display. I think the flower, which is already very, very large, is truly a real highlight. It stands at my south-facing window and practically always gets full light. There it's in good company with my recently introduced Dendrobium Beryoda, and now here the Delicatum. That's why it's still here. And that's why you can mix these plants, these orchids, quite well. And that makes the orchid window even more lively. In terms of temperature, the plant prefers cool to moderate conditions, which means a range of 12 to 18 degrees Celsius. The flower has an average diameter of 5 to 6 centimeters. Now I thought, let's just measure it here in the video. Let's check how big the flower is here. I'll just take the biggest one. And we can see we're at this point at 7.56, so between 7 and 8 centimeters. It can definitely happen that the flower becomes large in diameter. This one is now at 6.5 meters. That means even in this area, it's really a very attractive plant. You can see there are still some buds closed. This means that in the near future, there will definitely be many more flowers here. They will be in bloom. The flowering duration can easily last for several weeks. The great thing about Odontoglossum Oncidium culminara and what else there is in this Oncidium orchid genus is that these are plants that always bloom very abundantly, rarer, with just 1 flower spike. Here you can see my Culminara alcma in the back. I'll talk about that in a separate video. This plant here has been in this glass vase since the beginning of May 2020. This is the original Colomi. You can also see that a few algae have formed here. That means this plant has been in here for a very long time. This means in this video you will see a long-term experience report on the topic of orchids in Colomi. You can see here how nicely the roots have grown in, really great. That little bit of algae down there, yeah, it's purely cosmetic, it's not necessarily... I would say what you want, because you might want it to be neat. And that's why you might have chosen Colombia, but it works. You can see down here the algae growth doesn't bother the plant up top. The shoot is healthy and has developed 2 flower spikes, as you can see. And you can also see the plant is rooting really nice here, and we can see that really well again. The root grows directly into the algae. That means this also works, and the plant is doing very well, which we can see here in the flower spike. And yes, it was also outside during the summer months, which you can see from this little sun damage, but that's just a purely cosmetic flaw. And now comes the absolute highlight. Besides the fact that this plant is really great for beginners, every time I've come into the office these last few days, I've thought there's something here that's fragrant. Every time I searched, sniffed at which flower, or from which flower the scent is coming, it actually didn't smell, even though the whole room was filled with it. If you now go with your nose, when you get really close to the flower, you notice, okay, there's really light, more of a typical orchid scent present. I haven't noticed any scent at all with all the other orchids growing here. Not even remotely. I've only noticed a little scent, but only with this flower. You won't find any indication on the internet that this orchid, or Odontoglossum Chayenne, which is a fragrant orchid, but in this case I can give you a thumbs up for the fragrant orchid topic, a thumbs up for the easy care of this plant, and a thumbs up for this beautiful flower, this fireworks display, these bright red blooms. So I would almost say this plant definitely shouldn't be missing from the windowsill. It's one of the most beautiful Odontoglossum hybrids you can find. Sure, there are also some with much larger flowers and much fuller blooms, but if you just take a look at this one, this perfect star shape of the flower in this fantastic color, that's already a highlight. Enjoy the picture. I'm giving another thumbs up. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up too. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can see here how many plants there are. That means in the future there will be even more videos. In the next video, as a teaser, I will introduce you to the Miltonia phalaenopsis, which also grows here in Colomi, in the glass vase. And that's why I would say, don't miss the next video. Subscribe to the channel. Until then, and goodbye.